Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go with them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I'm going to go over a story titled, Would I be the a-hole for telling my wife to show me her phone after I got an email accusing her of cheating? And a shout out to Chris for sending me this story. And guys, this long story, as you can clearly see here, is about a wife and mother who truly is one of the most awful human beings I've heard about in a long time. And a father who's truly one of the best fathers and strong, good guy to his kids I've heard as well in a long time. And this is all about a guy who, like the title says, suspected some cheating is going on. And let me tell you, a lot is going on here. And upon this, his whole life is gone upside down, as well as the kids. And let me tell you, any of you parents out there are going to be disgusted by what you hear from what the mother does. And you mothers out there, my 4%ers out there, you're going to be disgusted too. But this goes to show you guys just how some women, you hear stories sometimes like female prison guards, how they'll help bust inmates out of jail they're having affairs with and all that, and go to jail for those guys. Or they'll change religions, leave their country, abandon the kids. We got one of those here. And almost always, well, I think always, these guys are total scumbags. Convicted, guys that have been convicted, guys that did time, or just cheaters themselves. And one thing is to always remember in these stories, as awful as they are and unbelievable, eventually karma comes back to bite someone in the butt. And it's always funny when these wives leave good husbands and their kids for these scumbags, when guess what? That guy screws them over too. And they want to come back, and the husband, the family's like, nope, not a chance. But anyway, guys, this is a long one, so I'll zip it and get into the story, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about here. It says, I, a 47-year-old male, have a comfortable and fulfilling life. I have a job that I truly love. I live in a nice suburb, and I'm blessed with 3 wonderful kids. An 8-year-old boy, a 6-year-old girl, and another 4-year-old girl. And a lovely wife, Emily, who's 45. I've always felt Emily and I were an ideal match. However, a recent email I received has deeply unsettled me and planted a seed of doubt in my mind. Well, it's certainly warranted given how this story goes. Emily lived in the UK between 2010 and 2015, during which time she pursued a PhD. Because she lived there so long, she developed many close friendships and has made a point to return every couple of years to maintain those ties. This past August, she traveled to the UK for 3 weeks to attend the wedding of one of her close friends. 3 weeks for an effing wedding? Okay. After some consideration, we agreed that it would be best for me and the kids to remain at home, as I could not take that much time away from work, and the kids were unlikely to find much enjoyment in such an event. Yeah, 3 weeks. Emily departed, returned as expected, and life returned to normal for us. Seems like Emily's very eager to get over to merry old England. Last week, I received an email at my work email address. It was supposedly from the wife of Emily's friend, who I will call Jake, a 44-year-old male. According to this woman, she has a very strong reason to suspect that Jake and Emily engaged in an affair. Oh, man. Remember, this is the guy I thought he had the perfect life? He's having his morning coffee, catching up on emails, and here's a email from someone he's never met, claiming to be the wife of that dude, and they're saying his wife's had an affair. Yeah, bad day there. She listed off her suspicions, noting Jake had picked Emily up at the airport, spent considerable time at her hotel, and how the two of them frequently went out to dinner alone. She even included pictures of my wife's earrings that she said she found in Jake's pockets when she was doing the laundry, and pictures of a lipstick stain on his shirt. The color is one I recognize as something Emily often wears. There is some other evidence that she listed off, and for the sake of consciousness, I will not include them here. Well, you should. All this was a lot to absorb, and for a while I thought it was some sort of joke. So I tried my best to ignore it, but it kept coming back to my mind. I remember that before her trip, my wife would talk to all her friends there. I don't know if this email is influencing my memory, but I think she probably spoke of Jake the most. Additionally, I know Emily never liked Jake's wife, though I can't say why. Well, remember, guys, or if you're new here, when women talk about a guy all the time, something's up. There's something that, whether it's her boss, her coworker, a so-called friend, oftentimes, whether she realizes it or not, that's your replacement. I never pried Emily's phone or social media accounts before, but I felt very tempted to do now. However, I knew I felt terrible if I looked and found nothing. Dude, nowadays there can't be any secrets. Also, if I start acting suspicious, would she just delete everything out of fear of being found out? I'm unsure of how to move forward and would welcome any guidance in handling this. The best I can currently come up with is asking to see her phone immediately and confronting her about it so not to give her the no time to delete anything. Though part of me thinks this would upset her and potentially not even show anything. Would I be the a-hole for telling my wife to show me her phone after I got an email accusing her of cheating? He also says, I forgot to include, my wife no longer has these earrings. She wasn't wearing them when she returned, and when I asked, she said she lost them. There you go. You have every right to check her phone and everything else. There's just too much information here. Too many things that add up in a negative way. And I might add that nowadays there can't be much privacy anymore. And don't give her any warning because she will make up a bunch of bullshit. So yeah, you have a right to confront her. And if she gets pissed off and tries to gaslight, well, I do more digging. Now we're on to this is, like I said, multiple parts here. On to the second part, which, holy cow. You're about to see, guys, just how much of a snake and rotten, awful person she is. And you're also going to see how strong of a man he is. So he says as an update here, a few hours after sharing my first post, I confronted Emily, and she confirmed my fears. She claims she's in love with Jake and can't live it lie anymore. Well, there you go. He had every right to do that. Well, this is the guy who said how great his life was, and they have 3 kids together. She still claims to love me and the kids, but says she can't stay with us any longer. She loves you and the kids, but she can't stay with you or the kids any longer. Yeah, I can just feel her love. According to her, she was waiting for a better time to tell me and the kids. Apparently this has been going on since March, with Jake flying out here occasionally and Emily secretly meeting him. She's been cheating on this guy for God knows how long. And I might add, cheating on the kids. She's a piece of shit. But we're just getting started here. And this is really going to show you just for how, sadly, women will throw away everything, even their own kids, for typically some Chad or Tyrone, or usually a guy who has a prison record, a felon or something. A woman will throw away everything for that guy. He says, we're getting divorced. Emily is moving to the UK soon. She confirmed that in August. In addition to the wedding, she attended a job interview, and she's set to start around the new year. She's already applied for a British visa. She plans to live with Jake once she moves. Holy freaking shit. How is she going to raise the kids over in the UK when the kids and this guy are here in Canada? Sounds like she doesn't give a crap about them. This poor little kid's being abandoned like that. As for custody, Emily is voluntarily surrendering her chance of full custody. A woman offers to surrender her full custody. That shows you she could care less about those kids. She does not want to uproot the kids, so they'll stay here in Canada with me. There's a part of me that appreciates the decision, but there's also the part of me that is astonished at how easily she's walking away. She wants to pay child support, but I'd rather raise the kids without her financial influence. That said, the court will likely insist on support regardless of my feelings. So some of you guys may be thinking, what, you don't want her to pay? That's crazy. Well, with her paying, that allows her to have more of a say in the decision-making with the kids and all that type of thing. Emily is also seeking structural visitation rights, which, given the circumstances, would likely be granted. Based on what I've been told, the court generally leans towards arrangements that allow both parents to maintain relationships with the kids, even when one is relocating to a different country. The lawyers are still working out the details, but it seems she'll have visitation during school breaks and holidays, with the possibility of virtual calls in between. I've been keeping things as amicable as possible, and the more cooperative I am, the more Emily seems to agree to my demands. Well, for the bigger picture and for the kids, if you got to keep your cool and be amicable, even though you have every right to tear a new one, then so be it for the kids. But listen to this. She's been planning this whole thing behind the scenes and abandoning the kids. She is an awful person. I'm sure some of you mothers out there hearing this are just want to throw something at the screen. And if you're watching me on your TV, on YouTube on TV, don't throw something at your screen. We're also discussing the future of our home. Emily has expressed a desire to sell the property and divide the proceeds. While I'm reluctant to part with the family home, it's unlikely I have much of a choice since it was bought during the marriage. So not only is she abandoning the kids, now she wants to split the proceeds so she can get her share and sell the home the kids have grew up in and are used to. Maybe have to go to a different school district possibly. This just gets worse and worse. What a selfish, I'm going to say it, C-U-N-T. And that's warranted. For now, our lawyers are still working through the details and no final decisions have been made. Given the situation, it could be a good while before we reach a resolution. In the meantime, I've been advised not to make any major financial moves. As much as I want to stay with the kids, I know selling is most likely inevitable. As of this writing, Emily is in an Airbnb with Jake and he's flown here to stay with her. They plan traveling to the UK at some point in the near future. Good God. The guy got the email while he's having probably his morning coffee, confronts the wife later, and kaboom. Here we go. Can you imagine him breaking this to the kids? Because you know she's not. These kids are going to be thinking, what did we do wrong? Why doesn't mommy love us? My lawyer tells me that adultery is not grounds for special treatment when it comes to custody or property division. Shocker. Therefore, it won't influence how assets are divided unless marital funds are directly involved. Emily likely used money from her personal account unless it can be proven that she used our joint finances to fund her affair. It's unlikely this will make any difference in court. Shocker. I've been in regular communication with Jake's soon-to-be ex-wife, Eleanor, primarily through email, and more recently, we've spoken over the phone a few times. Eleanor apologized, saying she feels guilty for telling me about the affair and worried that if she hadn't, maybe my marriage could have been salvaged. No. Eleanor had a right to tell him, and there's no way it would have been salvaged. This guy's wife was planning the escape. I reassured her that for me, the gravity of the situation made divorce inevitable, and I'd rather not remain in the dark about something of this significance. She even sent me messages and other evidence of the relationship. But since Emily is openly admitting to the affair, it doesn't really matter in the context of the law. Eleanor has also told me a lot about Jake. Apparently this is his third time he's cheated on her, and she's had enough. There's no chance of reconciliation this time, she says, and he doesn't seem interested in trying. She mentioned that Jake has zero desire to raise kids who are not biologically his, which explains why Emily's not fighting for custody. Eleanor's divorce will most likely be much longer and more drawn out than mine, given both her and Jake want full custody of their kids and can't agree on several other issues. So this woman's husband, Jake, jerk-off Jake, is a serial cheater. What do you think he's going to do? Seriously, guys. What do you think he's going to do to good old Emily here, mommy dearest, when he gets bored with her? Cheat on her too. And guess what? It's going to happen. Because cheaters don't change. And then guess who's going to be back crying for a second chance? We all know it. But we're still a lot of ways to go here. I haven't had much time to process everything. The past 2 weeks have felt like a blur in every way. But one thing I can say with certainty is I have nothing left for Emily. Not because she betrayed our marriage, but because how easily she walked away from our children. I never thought I could hate someone I once loved so much. It's a strange feeling. Well, as they say, there's a thin line between love and hate. Passion, emotions. But yeah, she's an awful person. These poor kids. A 4-year-old girl, a 6-year-old girl, and an 8-year-old boy. You know how bad this is going to mess up these kids? And usually the worst thing is when the kids blame the dad or the parent who stays around because the other one left. The hardest part of all this is the kids. My 2 youngest daughters have started asking why their mom isn't around much anymore. And it's been very difficult trying to communicate with them about the nature of the situation. My eldest seems to understand a little more, and as a result, he's become quite quiet and withdrawn. His eldest is the 8-year-old boy. That 8-year-old boy is going to become R-pilled from the early age. Ho, ho, ho. I'm fortunate to have a family that has been incredibly supportive so far. Well, thank God for that. My kids have received numerous thoughtful letters from some of their cousins, which I've been reading to them every night. All my siblings have sent gifts to the kids, and one of my brothers, along with his wife, drove up to visit this past weekend. My sister-in-law even prepared plenty of food, some of which is still in the freezer. Okay, so this is his brother's wife. They also kept the kids entertained while I met with the lawyer. My other siblings have also offered to come by and look after the kids whenever I need them. That is awesome. Thank God this guy has a big family and a loving family that's supportive. Family can be the biggest bunch of motherfucking assholes known to man. I'm sure some of you guys have had family like that. But the good ones, my God, they will be there for you when you need them. And that's great. Beyond that, my parents have been calling daily to check on us. And my 78-year-old mom has already made plans to stay with us for 2 weeks in November to help around the house. The collective effort of my family has made this experience much more bearable, and I'm deeply grateful for all their support. To everyone who encouraged me to speak with Emily after my last post, I am grateful. I was tempted to ignore Eleanor's message, but it kept gnawing at me. Your advice gave me the courage to act. Emily has shown herself to be a liar, and I have no doubt that her idea of a better time was simply when it would cause the least inconvenience for her and Jake. Well, you know what? Karma will be coming. Guaranteed. Jake, I guarantee, is going to cheat on her, and it's going to be over, and she'll be back. Now we're on to another part here, finishing up the video. He says here, I think this second part happened about a month after the first 2 parts. He says, I think of this as less of an update and more of a chance to vent a few things now that I've had more time to process my situation. I know that Emily often traveled back and forth to the UK during our marriage. She claims her affair with Jake only began in March 2024, but I'm convinced she's lying. She is full of shit. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. This has probably been going on for years. Sadly, and I'm talking very sadly here, I'd have to question if this guy's kids are his. I mean, that'd be the even worse part about the whole thing. Finds out that his children aren't his, you know? Ignore the motorcycle going by. I had to park in an inconvenient spot today to get these videos done, but it is what it is. It is almost certain that this has been going on for years. Given how much she's been prepared for this by the time I confronted her, it's become clear to me and everyone else that she's been playing this for some time. In fact, within a few short days of our confrontation, she already had certain legal documents prepared. Yeah, unless she knows a lawyer and has him working round the clock, she's been preparing this a long time. Additionally, Jake, arriving in Canada shortly after I confronted Emily, made it clear that they had planned for her to tell me roughly around this date in advance. It makes sense that Emily was well prepared and was just waiting for things to be better lined up for herself. After all, she'd long since applied for her visa, secured a job, secretly appraised her car, our family car, that was under her name, and sent personal items with Jake to the UK during his secret visits. all under my oblivious nose. Well, this guy thought he had a great marriage and never thinks that she would do this, so, yeah, he's not thinking to check up on her. This is why you have to trust but verify. And always watch for the red flags. It says here, I have a feeling I'm only scratching the surface and have no real idea how far this actually goes. Not that Emily would ever tell me its depth. In addition to all this, Emily has already been in touch with her lawyer long before I confronted her. She's a snake. Taking all this into account, it's hard not to wonder if she secured her job even earlier than she let on. Perhaps to make her actions seem less calculated. 2 of Emily's friends have since reached out to express shock and disappointment by her actions. It's possible that some of these friends didn't know what she was doing, but I guarantee at least one of her friends did. There's somebody out there that knew what she was up to and planning. One of them, Janet, mentioned that according to another friend, Emily had been consulting her divorce lawyer as far back as late August or early September. And this other friend also confirmed my suspicion that Emily had been sending some of her belongings to the UK during Jake's visit. Okay, so they did know shit was going on here. I've been losing sleep, replaying the past few months in my mind, maybe driving myself crazy, but certain things stand out. For example, when Emily went to the UK in August for the wedding, she was carrying 3 fully loaded suitcases. She told me that they were filled with presents for her friends, and I didn't question it, even though it seemed like a bit excessive at the time. Yeah, and her going for 3 weeks. But again, see guys, I don't think this guy's stupid. I just think that he truly thought he was in a great marriage, and she was a great mom and all those things, and has been blindsided by this, and it happens. This is why no matter how good it seems, you have to still pay attention to red flags. You have to trust but verify. You got to be like a fucking police detective. A police detective is always going to be suspicious about everything. It's unfortunate, but that's what we have to be driven to. When I picked her up from the airport after her trip, I noticed the bags were suspiciously light. I can assume that in addition to the job interview she claimed to attend, she transported a bunch of her personal items to the UK, which would explain why, since her return, she seemed to have been wearing a smaller selection of her clothing. Despite this, I was somehow blindsided, and I'm completely blame myself. Looking back, I can see where the signs that I ignored, and I guess I didn't think Emily was capable of this sort of thing. As so many guys said, they just can't believe she would do such a thing. And again, to him, it's bad enough what she did to him, but to the kids? A part of me wonders if this outcome could have been avoided entirely if I had been more assertive and vigilant in the past. The worst part about all this is that my kids are now dealing with the consequences of my ignorance and stupidity. While I twiddled my thumbs, my wife had essentially started a new life. Dude, do not blame yourself. She's a piece of fucking shit, okay? Okay, sure, nobody's perfect. I'm sure he's made some mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But for her to do this, and particularly the kids, no, that's way beyond. Abandoning the kids, another part of the world, come on here. No. Life without Emily has thus far been very difficult. Mornings have become a hectic rush between getting the kids ready and getting myself out the door. I'm barely on time for work for nearly half the week. It is frankly exhausting trying to keep up with all the extra parenting duties I have to perform throughout the day. Our current home has a large driveway, so on top of everything else, I'm already dreading the task of shoveling it once the snow starts falling. So this guy has to take care of everything now. Take care of the kids, all the stuff he's not used to doing, that she used to do, supposedly. Take care of his job. And emotionally process all this shit. And be there for the kids who are heartbroken and going through all sorts of emotions because mom's gone. Meanwhile, she's off with fucking Jake. Jerk off Jake. The kids are feeling this strain as well. They don't particularly like the food I prepare most days, and they hate how I'm always busy. It's incredibly frustrating to know that while we're here struggling, Emily recently departed for a relaxing vacation through Europe with Jake. Man, I wouldn't be amicable anymore. I'd be, listen, you fucking cunt, our kids need you and you're freaking abandoning them like this? And notice, I haven't heard anything from her family. Where are they? Communication between us has dwindled, and I also learned these developments recently. I have no idea if she plans to return to Canada after a vacation or settle directly into what will likely be a very comfortable life in the UK. On a more positive note, I was able to get the kids to see their doctor recently. She gave me a bunch of useful resources and advice. She placed an emphasis on how time and clear communication were the most important factors for their adjustment. While I'm optimistic, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried. It's still early, I know, but they remain quite upset about the entire ordeal and act out regularly. As a result, it is abundantly clear they're having a hard time adjusting to our new reality. Yeah, and it's totally understandable. But Dad, you are a strong guy, and you got to use every bit of the strength you had and the strength you never knew you had to keep it all together for the family. You are the keystone. You are the glue to hold it all together. And I know that feels like that glue is melting or that keystone's going to crumble, but you can't. You got to be stronger than you never knew you had, the strength you never knew you had. Your kids need you, and it's okay to feel like you're unbalanced and you're losing it. But don't give up. One day your kids will thank you. Throughout all this, my family has been a tremendous support. My mother arrived as promised last week, and things have already become significantly easier. Well, thank God for Mom. The kids enjoy her cooking and spending time with her. Her presence has always freed me to handle other tasks. Whenever the divorce is finalized, I plan to designate my eldest brother and sister-in-law as legal guardians for the kids. They live relatively nearby and have already agreed to take that role, if needed, which brings some peace of mind. However, I highly doubt this will be anytime soon because how much busier is my schedule and Emily dragging her feet before traveling. The whole process is slow to a snail's pace. One of the hardest aspects of this whole thing is making decisions about our family home. After considerable thought and speaking to it many times with family, I'm leaning towards selling at this stage. Emily has already offered me a bit more than half of the proceeds since she sold our SUV right before leaving the country. Now he has to sell the house. The kids lost their mom. She's out of the picture. Everything's turned upside down. And now they're going to have to move. Do you know that's going to screw up these kids even more? And maybe go to a different school. I mean, again, Mom is a cunt. I can't say it enough. My lawyer has noted that selling the SUV before we finalized anything was premature on her part, considering I contributed significantly 40% to the purchase. Yeah, it's in her name, but you put 40% up for the whole thing. He thinks I have strong grounds to seek reimbursement elsewhere in our asset division, which aligns with Emily's offering me of the house. Getting more than half seems fair, given that I contributed about 65 to 70% of the down payment and monthly mortgage payments. 65 to 70% of the down payment and the mortgage payments, and after everything she's done, they think she should get half? Are you fucking kidding me? And then have to, If she loved those kids, she would take her share of that, spread out over many years, so he wouldn't have to sell the house and uproot the kids. As I mentioned above, the family SUV was registered in her name only. However, I covered 40% of the costs, so it's frustrating she sold it unilaterally. As I've learned over the past few weeks, my sedan is too snug for the kids and inconvenient for my mother to duck in and out of when she runs errands. Therefore, I'll need to trade in for something larger. In return, Emily has he's being sarcastic, graciously insisted I keep the furniture and appliances, least she can do, I suppose. Oh, great, thanks. As much as part of me would like to stay in our current home, it's probably better for us to move. Part of me hopes this will help us avoid future interference with Emily, though in reality, she's just as likely to interfere no matter where we are. I've been looking at townhouses closer to my place of work, which would cut down my commute and place us near a well-rated school. However, my sisters brought up that moving the kids now would mean changing schools and losing their friends, which would be yet another big change for them. No fucking way should you take the kids from their school and all their friends. That's probably what's keeping them from going totally crazy here. No. Find another option, dude. Alternative option is that we move to a smaller, more manageable house close to our current one. This will reduce my workload and allow the kids to stay in the same school. Regardless of which option we choose, the idea of a new home without Emily's memory is appealing. Okay. Go to a new place, but same school district. The kids got to be with their friends and something normal, something routine. Don't go to a new school district. Our current home's location is yet another example of how foolish and short-sighted I've been. Its location was much more convenient for Emily's commute compared to my own. It worked out for a time as the children's school was close by to Emily's work in case they needed her during the day. But now all this is useless as my place of work is rather far. Bro, maybe you were too accommodating and nice for her in your relationship, who knows, but what she's doing here is just beyond horrible. Don't beat yourself over this. I've heard nothing from Emily's family, and frankly, I have no interest in reaching out. He hasn't heard anything from her family, her mom and dad, and siblings and cousins and all that. Are you kidding me? They don't care about the kids either? That is, God, the whole family's a bunch of fucking assholes. But you know what? Hey, you know what? Now it can be just him and his family. And I'm willing to bet you that Emily over in the UK is going to probably not talk to them, and not come see them, and maybe eventually one day he can get things changed around to demonstrate she should not have any contact with the kids. I hope that. As for Emily's future with Jake, I don't wish her relationship to fail. The longer her life is stable, the less likely she'll disrupt ours. Well, I want things to fail for her, but I don't want her to disrupt their life here. But I take solace in knowing that she remains unaware of Jake's infidelity history. I don't feel any more obligation to warn her about Jake's character, and Eleanor feels the same way. No, do not tell her. Let her fucking fail and fall on her face. I made a point to check in on Eleanor regularly. She doesn't have the same family support that I do. Her immediate family is charmed by Jake's ample wealth and believes that she should do whatever it takes to keep him, even though it's clear that neither he nor Eleanor wants reconciliation. And that, guys, is a very abrupt ending to this guy's post. But there goes to show you, and this is going to be a series, I guarantee there's going to be more updates here. But as I said, this is an example of how just unbelievable selfish women are out there. And how they typically they can easily, you hear stories about women how like the prison guards that will help the inmates escape and have them sometimes off their husband, or how women will change religions, leave their country, leave their family, leave their kids for some guy, and usually that guy is a piece of garbage, just like Jake here, jerk off Jake. But yeah, so I don't want to. So whenever you hear these things, it's always the men are the bad guys and these courageous moms. Bullshit. Women can do these awful things too. And this guy, yeah, I'm sure he made mistakes, but this goes to show how strong men can be and how it's so important to have a grounded, strong man in the life of the family and the kids, because he would never, ever do this type of thing. So guys, you have every right when there's suspicions to start doing some investigating here. And let me tell you, I'm convinced sooner or later it's going to happen. We're going to have an update that she finds out who Jake really is and is begging for a second chance. He's going to say, go F yourself. And I hope those kids want nothing to do with her ever again. And I've done stories like this where the mom disappears for 5 years, 10 years, and is back begging a second chance. And the dad is like, F you. And the kids are like, F you. She deserves whatever happens to her. So I'm going to keep an eye out for updates here. And I want you guys as well. You see it, you let me know. And we'll definitely cover it here. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.